Part 1. Number 1. Almost 50% of American families have a television. Number 2. A child sees about 32 acts of violence on TV by age 12. Immediate effects of TV violence children copy the violence they see on TV. For example, hit and kick the long-term effect of TV violence. When children watch a lot of TV, they have trouble in school when they are older. Number 3, cartoons have fewer acts of violence than adult TV shows. Number 4, kids spend more time watching TV than going to school. Research amount of violence. American children watch 3 to 4 hours of TV every day. Some people even feel that the violence on television is teaching kids to be more violent. Children saw someone hit and kick a doll on video, then 100% of the children imitated the same behaviors. According to one study, when children watch a lot of TV at age 8, they use more physical force deliberately at age 18. Part 2. Number 1, the miller is very rich. It's false. The miller is poor. Number 2, the youngest son gets the milk from the miller. It's false. The youngest only got a cat. Number 3, there are three things from the miller to give to his children. There are the milk, horse, and cat. It's true. Number 4, the youngest son has eaten the cat and made some mittens out of his fur. It's false. The youngest didn't eat the cat. Number 5. Marquis of Carabas is the name of the cat. It's false. Marquis de Carabas is the fake title that the cat gives to his master. Once upon a time, there was a poor miller who had three sons. The years passed and the mill died, leaving behind nothing but its mill, its donkey, and the cat. The oldest son took the mill, the second son claimed the donkey, and the youngest son inherited the cat. The cat master often sees him playing a lot of sly tricks to catch a mouse. Mr. Cat spends some money on a pair of boots on his cat. The cat looks very handsome in his boots. He puts the bran and the corn in his bag and lies down by the rabbit cage. Not long after he lay down, he got what he wanted. A rash and foolish young rabbit jumped into his bag. The cat went on for 2 or 3 months to bring a gift to the king, always saying it came from his master, the Marquis of Carabas, who's in boots, says if his master follows his advice, he will have the advantage. The miller's son did what the cat advised him to do, not knowing why or why. Sly cats hide their clothes under big rooks. The king ordered an officer to pick up one of the best clothes for Mr. Marquis from Charabas. The king was very pleased to meet the Marquis of Charabas, and the fine clothes he gave him were a perfect match. The cat, thrilled to see that his project had begun to succeed, moved first and met some of the fellow countrymen who were mowing the grass. The king had never failed to ask the mowers whose fields they cut. The cat threatened the cutters that if they didn't tell the king that the fields they had cut belonged to my lord Marquis of Charabas, you would cut up like potted medicine. And then the king asked to go to the place immediately. Finally, the ogre shows that he can turn into a lion. The ogre looked out of the window and saw the king waiting outside with his army. In a flash, the ogre turned himself into a mouse and began running on the floor. Pooh soon saw this, but he fell in and at it. Pooh told the king to welcome him into the castle of Master Marquis. Marquis made a few low bows, received the honor given him by His Majesty, and married the princess on the same day. Finally, Puss became a great master and never went after rats again, except for pleasure. Part 3. Long time ago, there was a gentleman who was very rich, but this man had a bluebird which made him so ugly, so none of the ladies want to be his wife. There was a certain lady lived near him and had two daughters, both of them of very beauty. Bluebird asked one of them to be his wife, but they refuse him at the first time. So he invites some ladies to visit his house. They parties, dancing, and they have really good time. Then the youngest of two sisters think about it again, and she decided to accept him to her as her husband. And they will marry soon. A month after the marriage, Bluebird thought that he should leave for her for few weeks for some business in the country. When Bluebird's gone, his wife's friends come to the Bluebird's house. They look from room to room, from closet to closet, and then from wardrobe to wardrobe. Looking into each with wonder, in short, they all admire and envy the good fortune of their friend. Indeed, without thinking how rude it would be to leave her guest, this, she spilled, she slipped away down a private staircase that led to this forbidden closet, and in such a hurry she is in danger of falling down from stairs. When she reached the door of the closet, she stopped to think the order from her husband that he will punish her every rude if she didn't obey him. But she was so curious to know what was inside. Then, with a trembling hand, but the key into the lock, and the floor and the door flew open. The window shutters were closed. She at first could see nothing, but in a short time she saw the floor was covered with blood, on which the bodies of several dead women. These were all the wives whom Bluebird had married and killed one after another. At this time she sank in fear, and the closet door fell on the floor. When she got better, she locked the door back to her own room. As she found that the key of the closet got stained with blood, she whipped in 2 or 3 times to clean it, but the blood still the same as before. She was it, but the blood didn't move at all. Then she covered it with brick dust and with sand, but the blood was still there. Early in the same evening, Bluebird came home, saying that before gone far, he met by a horseman, coming to tell him that his affair in the country was settled. Upon which his wife turned to make him believe she was in joy at his sudden return. The next morning he asked her for the keys. She gave them in to him, but as she could not help showing her pride, Bluebird easily guessed what had better than matter, and the Bluebird said to put the keys over the dress slowly. Then the poor woman laid it down, and the Bluebird said firmly to convince the lady of the Edie why this key had blue. His wife, who was almost dead with fear, now fell upon her knees, asked him pardon 1,000 times for her fault, and begged him to forgive her, looking all the time so very mournful and lovely that she would have melted any hurt that was not harder than a rock. Bluebird bawled out his wife. Come down at once, or I will fetch you, said he. One moment longer, I beseech you, replied she, and again called softly to her sister, Sister Anna, do you see any one coming? Bluebird seized his wife by the hair and raised his arm to strike off her head. She begged him to spare her life, but he stopped her, saying, all this is of no use, for you shall die. Bluebird tried to escape from his wife's brothers, but they pursued and seized him before he had gone 20 steps. The poor wife, who was almost as dead as her husband, she came as Bluebird had no heirs. She is the owner of his great rich. She gave a part to her sister Anna, who became the wife of a young gentleman who loved her. Some of the money for the two brothers, and the rest she gave to a worthy gentleman whom she married after, and whose kind treatment soon made her forget Bluebird's cruelty. Thank you.